Welcome to KMX Behind the Curtain. This is episode 3. In today's episode, we're going to be speaking to Rhonda from On The Gear. We're going to talk about how she set up a business just prior to a global pandemic, what experience she's taken from being a wrestler and brought into the business world, and how can you get on the gear. Let's get behind the curtain with Rhonda from On The Gear. Welcome, Rhonda, for KMX Behind the Curtain. Thank you very much for joining us today on this episode.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. So, Rhonda, if no one knows who you are one of the co-owners of On The Gear, which is a wrestling and gift merchandise site. That's correct?
Yeah, that is right, yeah.
And who are you the co-owner with?
So Josh Wall, who performs under Kelly 6.
Yes. And some people might know you as Darcy Stone.
Yes. Been out for a while, but 2021 could hold great things. We'll see.
Yeah, the only good thing about 2020, you had to recover in that whole 2020 without missing any wrestling.
I know. I mean, I had no gym, so I couldn't do all my rehab, but at least I didn't lose any ground within wrestling.
No, that's good. So going on to On The Gear, so company you set up in the back last year. Did you set it up beginning of last year?
Yeah, so we were actually very unfortunate because we set it up. I think our first day of business was March 16th. And that was a week before lockdown.
Good timing.
So yeah, we set up this whole thing. We were so excited and we're going to do all this merch for wrestling shows. And then obviously there were no shows, and there have been pretty much no shows since. So
no. So we'll go on to what is the reason for setting up On The Gear? What was the reason behind you setting it up?
Well, so I was injured. I was out since April 2019, I think. And Josh was injured as well with a shoulder injury. And we just wanted to be involved. And we were thinking about how there isn't really a place for wrestlers to get their merch on demand in the UK. There were a few places, but it wasn't very accessible. A lot of these places you had to be quite a big name, which meant you'd have a contract. And for people like Darcy and Kelly 6 and a lot of other people, it wasn't accessible. So we thought, you know what, this is such a good opportunity while we're out of wrestling to help our fellow wrestlers and give them a platform where they can share their merch. And actually in lockdown, it was good because there were no shows. So everyone could get a little bit of money on the side as well. So
that's perfect. So do you think as being a wrestler and being that injured, you kind of pushed you to do something, you wanted to give something back while you're out, but keep yourself in the wrestling scene as such?
Yeah, definitely. Like I found it pretty much impossible to stay away from the wrestling scene. I was very, very involved as much as I could be whilst shows were on. But I think this was it was just one of those concepts where we thought, would this work? And then we did some research and thought, actually, there is nowhere really that you can get this kind of service. And then, it just snowballed and we went, that's it. We're just going to do this now.
Yeah, no, I think that's obviously coming from being a wrestler. You've obviously seen that hole in the market as such, similar to we did with Kayfabe Music UK. We saw a hole in the market and we thought, can we fill that? And I think, yeah, that's what you've gone and done. You've kind of seen that hole gone. We've been there. We've tried. Actually, we can help and we can be a part of that and we can fill that hole.
Yeah, getting your wrestling merch, everyone, at a certain point in their career will need to have merchandise. It puts your name out. It gives you a professional element where you have something that the fans can buy, and it kind of elevates your status a little bit. But the places that were currently available were charging so much, and you had to take a gamble. So if you were going to one of these places, you'd have to get like a bulk order, which would be probably about 40 to 50 shirts. Now, if you're someone who's sort of they're just starting out, or you're not really a big name, that is a huge gamble to put down a lot of money, and you might not get the return on that. You might have 20 t-shirts still in your loft, 8 months later. And so we just didn't think that was fair. And we'd been stung by this before. So we thought, well, you know what? We don't want other wrestlers to have to go through that. We don't want them wasting their money. There's not a lot of money in wrestling anyway. So why not give them the opportunity to just get what they need and get them at a fair price?
And do you think the fact that you're both wrestlers kind of gives people that element of trust? They kind of trust you because you've been there, you've done it, and they can kind of find out who you are as such, because there's always someone that they know that might know you.
Yeah, exactly. I think the fact that we are wrestlers means that we know how the process works. We know what the customers need really, and also they do trust us because they've worked with us, they've seen us, and you know, a lot of them we are friends with. So it's you have to still be professional, of course, but we can help out our friends,
Yeah.
and that's what we wanted to do.
So in setting it up, how did you go about setting it up? Because obviously it's going from having an idea of trying to create this kind of business to actually doing it. So how did you? What was this kind of the stumbling blocks? What did you have to do to get this all set up?
So initially, the actual equipment came before the idea. It was sort of the premise to the idea. So one of our friends he had a t-shirt printing shop, I think in Wales. Good friend of ours, Jamie Gilbert, and he was closing down his business, and he was selling his stuff on Facebook. And we thought, let's do it. Let's take a gamble. Let's go for it. And we bought all the equipment, and then tried it out. And this was in late 2019. And then we realized it didn't actually do what we needed it to do. So you could only do very small quantities. And we thought, no, we really want to be able to give like big bulk orders and give really, really high quality finishes on the shirts. So we had a very stressful few months before we'd opened officially, where we were just thinking like, we've made a huge mistake. We have no idea what we're doing. This is such a complicated process. And we bought a DTG printer, which can print all sorts of graphic designs for a cheaper cost than you could screen print. And it was a big expense, but it will pay off. And I just think that it's such a science. We went to several experts because we walked into this blind, you know, with this idea and this dream, and it's such a science. And we probably rinsed about 100 shirts before we really knew what we were doing. You were actually one of our testers because I believe you did actually buy our first shirt, didn't you?
Look at
There
that.
it
Who would
is.
have thought I'd be wearing it? What a surprise. Order
You've been
number
wearing
one.
it since March and it's still held up pretty well.
I love it. Honestly, it's the quality, and the skull is quite a complex sort of design. So it was done
We
really.
did
When I first got it, I loved it, and I still love it. So I'm still wearing it.
we did have some problems with that as well because we wasn't sure if like, so things like, this is like tech talk, but things like magenta ink is really difficult to seal, which we didn't know. So for our first shirt, this was like a challenge for us. And now it's just like, I don't know, it's so weird. You just feel like you can just do anything now because it's just, we'll see that and we'll go, yeah, we can print that now. We know exactly how long to do that
And the
for.
thing is, you've kind of gone out there. Like, I think with Priscilla's t-shirt, the glitter sort of rainbow.
So I wanted to do something glittery and a little bit more than just a standard t-shirt. And Priscilla was perfect because Ollie had all these ideas, and I was like, I have this stuff that we can use. And I tested it because I did like loads of on the gear ones with glitter sort of logos. And yeah, so it's a holographic rainbow glitter. And it's a completely different printing process, but it looks fantastic. And I don't know any other, especially wrestling merch, I don't know any other wrestling merch company that can provide that.
Yeah. And the thing is, I saw it when you posted it online. I thought that looks amazing, and it works so well. It's one of them ones with merchandise, you want it to sell, and you want people to see it and know whose it is. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, well, that makes total sense. I totally get that. Like, there's a few other wrestlers out there, I think that sort of a design or that sort of kind of feature to a shirt for them would pay off so much.
Absolutely. I mean, we did over Christmas, we did some Cassius Christmas baubles,
I saw.
which was such a Cassius thing, very like a pink bauble with Merry Christmas on it. And we worked, so the good thing is Cassius is my friend, he's a very good friend of mine. So we can work together where we can design it together, and there's no limit really, because it doesn't matter how many times we go back and forth, we can really nail it. And I want it to be perfect, he wants it to be perfect. And it was the same with the Priscilla thing. We worked together, I suggested ideas, and then Ollie came back, and yeah, I'm really happy with the finished product, and it sold really, really well.
Yeah, and I think, as you said, knowing these people, they can be honest with you, and they can give you that honest feedback, because at the end of the day, you don't want someone to go, yeah, it's great, because they know you. You want them to say, no, I didn't like this or I didn't like that, because then the next person that buys, you know it's perfect for them because you've already gone through that process.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as well, especially in the beginning with a lot of the teething problems, we did reach out to people and we said, look, we were very honest and said, this is new for us. we want as much feedback as possible. Most of it was positive. Some people came back with things that we could change, which we then, we had a problem with one shirt that no matter what we did in the wash, it just would not survive. And this was like, honestly, one of the most anxious periods of my life where I was like, I've promised them something and I can't do it. And we just worked and worked and worked. We sought loads of expert advices and we nailed it and we got it perfect. And then they ordered 100 shirts and they were so happy with them.
Yeah.
Because we said, we kept sending them samples and saying, tell me if this is okay. And then we got there, and then we've learned from that, and we now won't make that mistake again with other shirts.
No. And that's great to hear, obviously, that you are putting that time and effort in to make sure things are right. You're not going getting them out as quick as you can, because obviously some companies might just see it as money, get out, but you're seeing it as a wrestler to wrestler. So you know the struggles that wrestlers go through, you know what they want to try and achieve. So you can kind of see what they want.
Yeah, and we get because obviously we're dealing not only with the wrestlers, but we're dealing with their fans. So what the fans receive reflects on the wrestler. It doesn't necessarily reflect on us. So we need it to be very, very high quality, and we need it to last for them. And quite a lot of times when we get an order through, there's like a note, and people will leave notes for their wrestlers. And because we're friends with the wrestlers, we can then pass that message on. And quite often they'll reply, and we'll print it out and put that in with the t-shirts, so they have a personalized reply with their shirt.
And that's amazing, because obviously these people are making an order, it's going through to you, you're acting as a third party as such, but you're still, instead of just going, oh yeah, it's there, you're passing it on to someone and then giving that person a response back, which obviously looks good on the wrestler, but as well as looks good on yourself and on the gear.
Yeah, and I think it's just like a lot of people last year, they weren't actually expecting to sell anything, which I find really upsetting. I remember when I first got my shirts, and I definitely was the same. I was like, I'm not going to sell any. And it's such a buzz when actually someone takes an interest in you and they want to buy something. And I know that the people that we have on the gear are so, honestly, they're so polite. Whenever they talk to you, they're very grateful for everything. And so many of them have just been like, I can't believe how many I sold this month.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful, and it just makes you feel really good that you've actually helped them out.
Yeah. So how do people get on the gear then? What's the criteria? What do they have to meet, or who do they have to contact to get on the website?
So basically, the only criteria for wrestlers, you have to have been wrestling professionally for at least 6 months to a year. So there's no real limit on Instagram followers. We don't really work that way. As long as you can prove that you've been wrestling from 6 months to a year. And that's purely so that we basically we don't want to push trainees, because sometimes trainees decide they don't want to wrestle again. And I think it's better to push wrestlers, and especially newer wrestlers, which might need a little help with their merch and stuff. Yeah. So to do that, all you have to do is message admin@onthegear.co.uk, give us your all your social handles, anything you have that can show us that you're a wrestler, essentially, and we'll look at it. And we've never refused anyone, unless of course they don't meet that criteria. Promoters, again, the same. You need to be running for at least a year, I would say, and just any proof of that. Most of the time when people message us, we know who they are, and we can vouch from them. We've had a few international signees that we haven't known, so we've had to look into. But then the good thing about wrestling is everyone knows everyone, so all you have to do is ask someone. So that's the wrestling side of it.
And you've got 61 wrestlers currently on the gear.
We have, and we will be adding. We've got, I would say, about 10 more to come. But we are trying to space them out at the moment. So.
And if people don't actually hit the criteria, they can still order a shirt from you, though, can't they? Because obviously you've got different, you've got the wrestlers, you've got the fashion designers, and then you've also got the custom.
Yeah. So if you're, so we had a case before where it was a trainee, and they were very popular, but they didn't meet our criteria. So what we did, they set up their own big cartel merch. They linked it to us. So every time they got an order, it came through us, and we still printed and sent everything out. It's just they weren't featured on the website, but we still handle their merch. But yeah, with fashion, so yeah, bringing up fashion, we're working with like small designers, tattoo artists, sketchers, that they like Becky Ashton, for example, she sketches some wonderful designs, and I remember seeing them and going, that needs to be on a shirt. Like, that is incredible. And she was like, I didn't even think about that. So it's given them, like, small artists a platform where they can print their stuff and merch. And you know what? They've done fantastically. So
yeah. That's cool. So looking, you've updated the website in the last couple of weeks, I remember rightly.
yes. Just before Christmas, we switched over to a new server, giving it a new fresh look.
Yeah.
It's easier to find who you want to buy. Basically, it's easier to find your wrestler now. We have a very high functioning search function. We have tags and stuff. So if you can't remember the wrestler, but you kind of know their gimmick, or you know what shirt, you've seen someone else wearing a shirt, you can search via that as well. We have all the fashion stuff on there, and we do have our new baby thing I'm very, very proud of, which is the create your own.
Yes.
And you've tested this for us.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like, I was just one night, you messaged saying, "Oh, can you have a look at this?" And I'll put over the top of this. It'll show kind of a way of navigating through it. But basically, you go on there, you decide which top you want. So the different color t-shirts that are out there. You don't just have to get a black t-shirt like all wrestlers. You can get a different color t-shirt. You pick your size, and then you pick the print if it's going to be front, back, or double-sided. And it gives you a price at that point, which I really like. I thought it was a really nice touch that you're very open with the pricing. It's there right in front of you, so it's not at the end hidden away. Once you get to the end, put all the hard work in, then somebody says, "Oh, it's this amount of money." You can see what it is right at the beginning.
That's one thing we pride ourselves on, is just being very, very open with prices. Like, we don't have any of this 19.99 stuff. Everything is black and white. We tell you exactly how much shipping is, because, like you say, you need that transparency. So.
Yeah, and if you do that, then obviously you design it. It's similar to other websites I've seen, but obviously this is based around wrestling as such. And you can, look at that nice. Just put that up again, Rhonda. There you go. You can also get on the gear. You can get mugs. You can get anything printed on that mug.
Lovely mark on the back.
So yeah, then we're looking at the t-shirts as well. So you can import your images and then place them on the shirt where you like them, on the front, the back, breastplate if need be. And obviously that gets sent off to yourself. Do you proof them? Because I was looking on it earlier on, and it says at the bottom that you can't make any changes. But if there was anything glaringly obvious that's been done wrong, message them and just say, "Are you sure about this?"
Absolutely, and we have done that before, where someone accidentally ordered. I think because if you want to order in bulk, if you order, I think it's more than 5, you can request a quote, and we won't charge you. I think, I can't remember how much is on there now, but we won't charge you the price that you see. We will give you a bulk quote, which is considerably less, and it's just, the cheaper option for getting multiple shirts.
Your bulk orders are 5 units.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what we put.
And that is, for me, like, bulk orders, whenever you go to another company, it's always been 20, 40, 50.
Exactly. So, this is what I mean about smaller wrestlers who might only want 10 for the weekend. They've got a show coming up and they only want 10. Yeah. And I don't think they should have to buy 50 or 40 of them. It's, we still give them the price that they would be charged if they did buy 50.
And what sort of turnaround can you do on t-shirts? If someone was, as you said, someone's got a wrestling show this weekend, obviously, what sort of turnaround can you look at doing?
Well, anything wrestling bulk orders, they're always our priority, because we know that people have a deadline, especially people who have taken a pre-order and they want to package them themselves because it's their own personal touch. They're always our priority. So we can normally get them out within 48 hours to you. Our plan for when wrestling shows come back, we will be able to, in most cases, drop the shirts off at the show on the day. Because we're wrestling fans as well as wrestlers, so we want to be at the show as well. So why not be able to bring the merch with us? We did do, I think it was 50 shirts. Someone ordered 50 shirts last year, and they needed them the next day. So we did. We did it. We stayed up all night. We printed them, we packaged them up, and then we dropped them off to them. And it was fun. It was really fun to know that we could actually fulfill this.
Yeah. Obviously, it's not every day you'll be doing that.
Absolutely not. No.
Same for tomorrow. I'll send a message.
With shirts that you buy on demand from On The Gear, we do have a note on our website that says it can take 7 to 10 working days to print. That is the absolute worst case scenario, because obviously sometimes we do have these huge bulk orders that take priority. So normally we send them out within a week, because they're made to order. So we take the order and we print them as they come, essentially. And last year we had big problems with suppliers with coronavirus, and there were delays. And what I really appreciated was most people were so, polite about it. And we'd email them and say there might be a delay with your shirt, and everyone was fine with it.
And the thing is, I know I was trying to get a T-shirt from you. I'll just show it up here. The isolation T-shirt, lovely here. And I know that when I was trying to order this, you had issues trying to get the T-shirt in. And you said to me, you were like, I'm struggling to get that in, but if you want, I can go to a different supplier. And I was like, no, it's fine. You've told me. I've got no issues. And you were very open with it and transparent. I thought that, you know what, for me, speaking, I know you, Rhonda, but as a company, I actually trusted you straight away, because straight away you said to me, this is what's going on. This is what I can do, or we can do this. And we just kind of spoke about it. And it's fine.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I've had so many bad experiences with companies where they just pretend that they can do something, or they say they will do something and they won't. So I think it's always better to just, if you have bad news, just deliver it and work on a problem instead of trying to pussyfoot around it.
Yeah. So. Straight for the jugular. That's what I like.
Yeah.
So you do T-shirts. We've seen you do mugs. What else do you do on the website that people can get customized?
We do hoodies, we've got some tote bags. We are bringing in a few more things. Basically, if you want something and you're not sure if we can print it, we probably can. We've done puzzles, key rings, bottle openers. We've done pet mats, pet bowls. We haven't put it all on the website because we like to keep it condensed. Things can get a little bit crazy if you have too many options. So basically, if you have an idea and you don't really know, just send us an email. And also equally, if you have, this goes for wrestlers and anyone alike, if you have a concept for a design and you're not really sure where to take it, you can just message us, because if we can't fix it and we can't suggest something to you, we know so many fantastic designers, and we don't take any cut from the designers. We just send you over to them, and you can get your work sorted from there.
That's amazing. And just to remind people, obviously, you don't just do wrestlers. If anyone's looking at stag do's, any going away on holidays or anything like that, and they wanted the T-shirts made up, obviously,
absolutely.
.co.uk. I'm getting that plug in for you. And obviously, you can provide. So you're not just a wrestling T-shirt company.
We did a load. I think we did 8 masks for Ibiza, and we did the holographic glitter, and they were going just between that gap of lockdown, and they all needed masks, so they had Ibiza masks. We've done workwear before, hairdressers that just need uniform. We can do all of that basically. So
that's perfect. So looking at future plans, so what are the future plans for On The Gear?
Well, we're really hoping wrestling shows start up, but that's out of our control. But what we continue to do is, with this website is so new, it's still kind of in its testing stages. So we're seeing how well that goes. We've got big plans for lots of international wrestlers coming on board, which hopefully will be drip feeding in the near future, and just continuing to up our quality. The plan would obviously to be make enough money to buy a secondary printer so that we can print quicker, but that is like long-term goals. I think for now we just need to stay in the time frame that we've told people we would, so just continuing our high quality, getting things out as quick as possible, and just getting more people on the gear, I guess.
Perfect. Just a couple of other things. So you've been around just come up to a year, under a year. What's your most proud moment been so far of being a business owner?
Probably not throwing the towel in. It's been really difficult. No, I think it, when you start a business, especially when you start one in lockdown, it is incredibly tough, and we have had very, very low lows, but very, very high highs. And I think definitely one of our surprise signings was Effie from America. because he bought, I think he bought a Mad Kurt shirt, and I thought, I know that name, I know that email address, I'm
Yeah.
going to email them. And I just sort of sent something over, and he was totally on board. He was like, that sounds great. And I
Right.
just couldn't believe it. Like, so yeah, I think, yeah, just the biggest achievement is the fact that it's working, and so many people are grateful, and it's a lot of fun, it really is. Doing things like working with Cassius on his designs, or, meeting so many new people that I didn't know existed in the wrestling world, like the lads. Never met the lads before, but they are the nicest guys, and they're so friendly, and I think they were our bestseller last year.
They're the guys that have Harry's, aren't they? Yes, well, they're SOS trainers.
Yes.
Yes, I know who you mean.
They were our best sellers last year, and we didn't know them, and we could have easily have just said, like, we don't know you, you can't be on the gear, but that's not our policy. We want to include everyone, and we're really glad we did, because they did fantastic.
Yeah. So looking at people that you'd love to work with, anyone out there that you'd love to send a little email to or get an email from saying, I'd love to get on the gear?
Chris Jericho,
Oh,
listen.
oh, the pro wrestling tees might have an issue there.
Yeah, I think they would.
And the thing is, with wrestling shows coming back, hopefully in the future, you'll have that more opportunity. As you said, you are a wrestling fan, you are a wrestler. So being at shows, you can be there, you can talk to people, and obviously the word of on the gear is going to get around for the good news and the stuff you do. So it's only going to be even better.
We'd like as well, when shows come back and we can actually do the sort of door-to-door delivery service where we drop it off at the show, we would like to be able to sort of work with promotions and run their merch. And that might not be, they might already have their merch sorted, they might have already printed their merch, but actually like maybe managing their merch stand, so that if they do run out of a size, we can write it down, we can put it on our electronic app thing, and then it will send it to our system, and then we can print it and send it out for the fan who wanted it and it wasn't there. So
Nice.
that's really where we want to go with that. So hopefully a lot of promoters will be on board with that.
Perfect. Well, I will let you go. I think we've covered everything, but we need to find out, how do people find you? I know we spoke about earlier. What are the details for people to find you online?
You can find us at www.onthegear.co.uk. Our Instagram is @getonthegear. Facebook, On The Gear. If you want to email us, you want to work with us, you just want to know a little bit more information about how we work, it is admin@onthegear.co.uk. And for all of those wrestlers who are interested in working with us, there is no timed contract. So you can leave at any time you want. You're not exclusive. I mean, you can be if you really want to be. You can join other merchandise sites. You can do your own merchandise. This is just something that's available if you want it.
Perfect. Well, I'll let you go, Rhonda. Thank you very much for your time, and
Thanks,
good luck.